quick story. After I ran for office, it was either move further to the left and like get nothing done. And I had some older Black folks that were like, come play the game. I'll let you in the door. I played the game. It's not hard. I got to the table. I realized nobody there had power and everybody was full of shit. And I didn't like the kind of person that I was becoming to be in those rooms with people who really didn't have a lot of power.
Right.
And I just kind of woke up one day and I was like, I don't want to do this anymore.
Right. No, that's real.
I'm just like. So I'm removing things from my memory. Just
Yeah.
But isn't that like the underbelly of this? I feel like that's part of the underbelly of this conversation that we're going to have and why there's been a rise of the Working Families Party as it has been. Because there's an underbelly to establishment democratic politics that requires certain things, and it's the tradition. And that, I think, this is like a piece of what we're going to get to in this conversation. So I appreciate you sharing that, because that's really like, first of all, that's personal because it's about your journey, but it's also like really meaningful and things that like I have seen happen. Like, you know, I voted for you. Well, I should tell people who we're talking to first before I go too deep.
Okay.
Because I always do this.
Okay.
But hey, y'all, it's me, Tareya. Columbus Can't Wait Again. We're at Statehouse Studios recording tonight. And we have Aleena Starks here, Ohio State Director for Working Families Party. And we have a co-host here today. Yay. Jasmine Ayers. Jasmine is a teacher in Columbus. But Jasmine is also a lifelong Columbus resident and also has run on a progressive ticket in Columbus.
Yeah.
So Jasmine and I are tight. I just picked her up in front of the State House because she went to the State House, the actual State House, instead of Statehouse Studios.
Yes.
So I had to
shout out to the nice people that like let me in and were not like
so
looking at me
funny.
crazy. Folks were really nice. The gentleman, the cop who like, you know, made sure I went through security. Everybody was very friendly. So
and I did a
funny.
drive-by. Like I literally just, it's icy outside, y'all. It's snowy, so I just slid through there.
Just hop in.
She jumped in the car, and then we came here. So
State
all
House
is well. Now. So I'm glad you're safe, Jess.
thank you.
But yeah, y'all. So we should have a good show today. So what I was saying before I interrupted myself was that I voted for you. It was 2018.
2017.
2017, I voted for you. And it always sticks out of my mind because I didn't even know you really at that time. Like maybe a little bit, but not really. I voted for you because even then I could see that I thought that there needed to be sort of someone in office who reflected my progressive values. And I really believed in, you know, the things that you were saying in your platform and the other folks who were on the Yes We Can ticket. And so that's a really like meaningful, that's one of the things I think that kind of like started this whole thing, because then I just was like seeing gaps. And then when you lost, I was like,
And then they
What the
didn't give
hell?
me the seat where they appointed somebody,
yeah.
which was even like the extra slap in the face. Right?
Yeah. So that's a little piece of my villain origin story. Is it part of yours also?
Thank you. I appreciate that. If we're talking villain origin stories, mine actually, I think it was 2015. There was a drive-by shooting at Lynn & McKinley. 2 kids got shot. They lived. But the only response from the city was to put an extra patrol car in the parking lot. That was it. Right? And I'm thinking if this happens at Thomas Worthington or like there's, you know, therapists upon therapists, and there's gates, and there's, you know, there's like a lot of things that come with that. And that was the final straw for me. I was just, you know, when you treat adults poorly, I don't like it. But when you treat children poorly, I can't handle it. So
Yeah.
that
People
was
do
my
not care
like
about
jumping
kids.
off point. I just couldn't do it anymore.
Right. Don't mess with the kids.
Right.
Alina,
yeah.
like,
Yes.
I don't want to say, I'm not going to ask you what's your villain origin story because I
mean,
don't
you
want to ask you
can.
that about your job.
No, that's not about my job. I mean, I think I'm at my job because I had a villain origin story.
Okay, tell us,
It's
girl.
led me here. Let's see. So, I mean, there's so many villains, right? But I think one thing that led me here was I worked for a particular organization that should have had their shit together, and they did not, to the point where we had volunteers printing their own literature for door knocking in field. And that pushed me really far to the left. And there was that example. There was also like Tamir Rice being murdered in Cleveland that happened. That happened first. I had an organizing job first in 2012. That's how I started. Tamir Rice was killed in 2014. I kind of opened up my house to for organizers and kind of stepped into the more like activism role because I was in more of an electoral space, and then seeing how we were kind of pigeonholed and followed and phones were being tracked and just like that just kind of opened my eyes fully, and then followed by the establishment not providing support for Democratic races. I'm like, oh, you guys like to lose. So that was something. And then lastly, what led me here to this position was I was supporting a candidate in Cleveland who was up against a 43-year incumbent. And she was endorsed by a lot of organizations. However, WFP was like one of the only organizations that showed up and provided any real material support.
Yep.
And so I just started asking questions. I'm like, what's going on over here? And, something ended up being available and I applied and got it. And it's been almost 4 years. So,
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I resonate with both of your stories because the police violence piece, being impacted by like mass incarceration, that was like I think my lead in, and then everything because you have the thing right, and then you start to understand politics and how all of this stuff is like by design. So when you bring up Tamir Rice too, like I remember organizing students because I was a young employee on Ohio State's campus, and the students wanted to organize around police violence and around Tamir Rice specifically. And I think it had started with like Mike Brown. And so I just started doing that, like helping to organize the students.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I'll probably get fired for this. So I should probably like
You're doing something right if you're like almost gonna get fired.
I was like, I should probably like transition out. But like so that resonates a lot with me. So I appreciate both of y'all for sharing your stories. Absolutely. And you're also a Bobcat. You went to
Yes, I did not finish there, but I started there.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we both went to OU. So that's another like little connection point that we have.
It's a small Ohio.
Yeah. But I want to hear a little bit. I always ask people about their personal backgrounds. Like, how does that affect, how you organize and how you think about your work?
Yeah. Well, I was raised by educators. My mom was a teacher for 27 years and then was in administration for the next like 10 or 11 years of her career.
And where were you raised?
I was raised in Cleveland.
Okay.
Yeah, and my mom taught in East Cleveland, which, if you all know, is like a really poor city in Cleveland, in Cuyahoga County. And she went from there to Cleveland proper, and her mother was an educator, and then my dad's sister was an educator, and I think that kind of really shaped how I look at the world. Like I grew up tutoring younger cousins, like that was just always part of how I communicated with friends until I realized, oh, your friends don't actually like when you correct their grammar. That was a tough lesson. I was like, oh, people don't like that. Yes. I'm like, that's what we do at our dinner table. Y'all don't do it?
It sounds like my family. My grandmother was a reading teacher.
Yeah.
So she read all of my papers through grad school.
Yeah. Oh my God. Well, that's nice. That's a blessing. That's so
very
cool.
much a blessing.
Yeah.
Shout out to grandma.
Right.
I'm a grammar corrector. I don't do it anymore because I realize people,
like
you
know what? We all have different paths. I'm projecting. I can understand what's
I was
happening.
a Scrabble lover, so that just tells you, like, that's
deep.
Yeah, exactly. It's gonna be a great conversation.
Yeah. So I have 3 older siblings. They're all 10, 11, and 12 years older than me. I have a younger brother. And I have a lot of people in my family who have disabilities as well. And I'm starting to think about that a little bit more, about how that shaped how I care about people in the world. It's something that I've just never really thought too much about, because that's just how I was raised. And these are people in my family and siblings and things. But it really does like shape my understanding, acceptance, how I communicate. Like I've just always been really particular about communicating in a way that's accessible. And I think that was the thing that kind of really was like my driving why to keep me in this work, or like what started and has kept me in this work is like, because this work can get so intellectual really quickly and we lose the plot.
Absolutely.
And it's like, if no one understands what we're even talking about, what's the point? Where are we going? So yeah, that's so a little bit about my family. I graduated from Shaker, went to OU for that year. That was kind of a mess. Long story short, ended up getting right. Struggled out my 20s, I'll say, but ended up getting an associate's in 2018. And by that point, I had started organizing in 2012 under the Affordable Care Act, or under Get Covered America, which was doing work for the Affordable Care Act. And the ball just kept rolling. Opportunities just kept coming up. I realized, this is something I'm good at, I care about. I have a way that people are interested in hearing how I communicate about this stuff, which, and I credit my, going back to that accessibility of language and like my educational background. So yeah, one thing led to another. I've had plenty of organizing jobs. My background is in field, and here we are, just fighting in Ohio for everything we've got.
Right.
Absolutely.
So I think it's also important, because Jasmine and I were talking about this before you came in, to like explain to the listeners. I just always assume people don't know. So like tell people what Working Families Party is. And what makes their approach to politics different from sort of what we call establishment or traditional Democratic Party strategy. In both Ohio and like nationally.
Sure. Yeah. So Working Families Party is a national third party organization, and we work to recruit, train, and elect progressive candidates to office. In some states, we have a ballot line, like New York, they have a ballot line. I want to say like Connecticut. There's a few states that still do fusion voting. That's a whole nother conversation. But in most states, we run our candidates through Democratic primaries. We like to consider ourselves a non-delusional third party.
I'm sorry, did you say non-delusional?
I did.
I love that.
Say more about that.
I mean, we're not in it to spoil elections. We're in it to win. We're in it for governing power. Working class people deserve to win.
Right.
They deserve people in office that are going to advocate and protect and lift them up. And
there has been some delusional
third
party stuff
going
on.
And I'm sure we're going to get into it some more, but like just third party aside, like how we strategize about our tactics to win. We have to stay grounded and figure out the best path to victory. And sometimes it's not pretty. Sometimes it's not always the ideal candidate, but and I think that's a tension that WFP struggles with often, is like our goal for governing power, but also like recognizing that resources are limited. This is a tough terrain, especially in Ohio. And, just balancing all these tensions.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. How does that work? I know that there's like, I'm sure like a set of values that Working Families Party has. Can you tell like how that impacts who you all choose to support?
Yeah. So luckily, some national organizations they're really kind of controlling, for a lack of a better word, about like what their states might do. WFP nationally really understands that each state is different and we have to move based on time, place, and conditions. And so that impacts what maybe our platform looks like or what our priorities may look like. We value free childcare, paid family leave, universal health care, a living wage, just having the things that like basic necessities to keep keep us thriving and like not struggling on a day to day. So yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure. I think I missed part of your question.
No. I was just asking like what values you want to see in like a candidate.
Right, sure. So yeah, we want to see that the candidates are actually doing work to support those values and those platform items, and not only during their campaign but beforehand as well. It's not enough to just start this work when you decide to run for office. Like, we like to see that you've been doing this work, you have a relationship with the community you look to represent, and you come from the neighborhoods that you're trying to represent as well. And I think, it's really important, and I think we're seeing this more nationally, is like, and I think WFP has always kind of had an eye for this, is like authentic candidates. And I think especially as we talk about expanding the electorate and bringing more people into the political fold, and that really includes Black, brown, and poor people. And I don't know about y'all, but I think most Black people that I know can spot inauthenticity from like a mile away. And so it's like, we know that, we know what that feels like. We know what it looks like, what it doesn't look like. And I think it's really time, and I think it's picking up, like, for us to have more of an intentional selection of these candidates that are actually authentic and not just playing some role.
Yeah. I hear a lot when I'm in like democracy spaces around this big tent conversation and like inviting people into the big tent. But I also, when I think about that, what concerns me about that conversation is like, well, who's getting pushed out of the tent, right? So that we can invite everyone in. And so I appreciate the conversation around authenticity and like, choosing folks who are from the neighborhoods that they seek to represent, like choosing folks who have like actual like lived experience that speaks to being a working person in the US and what that actually means and looks like. Because I also feel like, and you touched on this with political candidates, sometimes it's like, it seems like just propping up a dead body. Like, you just have someone standing up here that's going to say all the right things and do all the right things. But like, that's not actually like human beings, right?
Right.
None of us are perfect.
Yep.
And I think that what I have seen over time that has sort of like turned me off is that there has to be like, it feels like it's respectability politics, but it's like for everybody. Because like when I talk about respectability politics, I talk about it in the context of like Black folks, right? But I feel like when you're looking for instance, like the established Dem party, when they're looking for candidates, it's like this person that checks all these boxes versus like someone who's actually just like a real ass person.
Yeah, and I think they're realizing, hopefully. I mean, that's what WFP is for. Who cares if they're realizing? We're realizing, like that's actually not what people want. People want that real person who they've seen before. First of all, how about that? They've actually know, or their friends know, and they're just not some random person coming around for a vote for this one time. So yeah, I think all of that matters, and it's exciting to see people catch up. And we were talking about like our journey to getting here and staying here. And I've been on the progressive side of things my whole career, and it's been so isolating. So it's nice to see like things are coming along, I got some friends now. Like I was a Bernie gal before it was cool, or like not to say before it was cool, but like before people were really thinking about, especially like, unfortunately, like it's taken, and I think it goes into, I think it comes from maybe a scarcity mindset, especially like in Ohio with jobs. People follow the jobs, people follow the money. So a lot of like people our age are not or have not chosen more progressive or alternative routes, which is fair, get money, but also, and that's part of the reason why I really am invested in building WFP, because I want a space for all my friends to work,
right?
That share my values and our values.
Yeah, I think that's something that we were talking about. Like, what is the cost of being politically involved and of shaping your life and your job choices? around politics, right? Which is, it's really hard. And I think particularly in Columbus, it's really hard. Because they will punish you here and do it with a smile on their face. And it's like, I understand, like, people have families, they need to feed their families, they need to feed their kids. And so, like, taking a job that might be in opposition to the establishment it's risky.
Yeah, because if you do that, you're blackballed pretty much. Like,
I call it, I'm shadow banned. Like,
shadow banned.
I
Nobody's gonna say to your face that you're banned. That's why it's a shadow ban.
Like, I can do they finally like I can do consulting with the city or the county, but like, I can't get a job there.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah, and I don't think, and I could be wrong, but I don't think, it's definitely not as strong of a dynamic like that in Cleveland. Like, we are a fighting town. Like, we're rough, you know, and like, people will tell you directly, like, don't like that, hated that, hate you.
Thank you. Say it to my face.
I appreciate the directness.
Trait that I think crosses racial, ethnic, socioeconomic.
I mean, I have heard of
like,
some candidates being pushed out after they run against maybe a trusted, or, you know, like a institutional incumbent or something. But that kind of far and few between. But yeah, Columbus is a different beast. And that's been, you know, I'm from Cleveland. So, and most of my organizing work has been in Cleveland up until this statewide position. So it's been a learning curve, and every city is different. Like, I mean, really just like what Jasmine just said, like, it is, people are really guarded here and are not as eager to step out, be honest, like, even like hiding votes and like, or their support rather. And it's a little harder to organize in a town that, like, a lot of people's jobs are tied into politics, you know? And I think maybe I heard you talking about this, like, people like looking at the room of like the Franklin County endorsement committee. I don't know who's talking about this, but like, most of these people are employed by the party, you know? So it's just like all of this stuff is interconnected in a way that is not necessarily maybe the case in Cleveland. And
even when you talk about, when you like, because I always tell people Columbus can't wait, like, everyone can listen, and I want everyone to listen, but I created this show to have my Black perspective and the perspectives of other black people on the show. And I do think that you talked about it, like, folks like, if you talk to any of the like elders in Columbus, like, I remember when I told my husband's grandma that I was going to quit my job at Ohio State, and she was like, that's a good state job, why would you do that? Like, that is seen as, like, if you're able to get a job with the state or with the government, like, you're going to do fine. Like, you're going to be able to, like, feed your family and you're going to be good. And so running afoul of that is scary, because I do think that it is ingrained in people that if you want to be able to, like, survive here, especially when you look at the rising cost of even just living in Columbus, or even in some of the surrounding suburbs, like, it is very much tied to people's survival. And I think that is so deep. When you think about it, it's more than just like a vote or an opinion or being vocal about your opinions.
I'd be interested to hear about, I'm thinking about young people, because in Columbus, we do have a lot of young people who are interested in politics, but then they go work as a Statehouse aide, and I'm having these conversations with them about the city and politics, and they're like, oh, I didn't know that. And I'm like, I'm worried about our next generation of leaders, because they are here in Columbus and they do want to serve, and these are smart, capable young people. They don't have particularly good mentorship, like, I think, in my position.
Well, I encourage everyone to lift up the good name of working families. You know, there is a place, we have this national, like, distributed organizing program called Wolf Packs. And basically they are distributed organizing groups throughout the country that help uplift the work of the state. And like, right now we have a Cincinnati Wolf Pack that is like tabling all over town, just getting the name out of WFP. They just held a prosecutor accountable for some poor judgment takes that she was involved in. But yeah, I think working. So there's a lot of organizing homes throughout the state, but I think WFP exists, and our strength is in providing an alternative political home for folks that are not necessarily feeling at home with the two-party system. And I think that's a lot of us. And I mean, that is where I say, like, I'd hope and I think that young people have a good analysis of like things aren't working and what else is out there. But if they don't know it, yeah, they're going to be forced due to bills and whatever to not, to take the road most traveled. So,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I have a question, a more, I think, broader question that also just connects to young people. And it's specifically about Columbus. Like, what do you think are the biggest challenges facing like working class from what you can see? I know you're working statewide, but like facing working class Black people in Columbus and statewide.
Yeah, I mean, I think kind of following that same thread of like folks not really having a political home. I think the Black community, maybe here in Columbus and statewide, a lot of folks are kind of moving away from the Democratic Party, and maybe not with their vote, but maybe ideologically, and like are starting to pick up on being taken advantage of. Like I like to tell the story about in Cleveland, Ward 1 is the highest voting ward in Cleveland, and they had the lowest voter turnout, or like their voter turnout dropped significantly during Tim Ryan's race. And I like to say that it's not because they don't know how to vote. We know they know how to vote, but it's because we don't believe in that candidate. So I think we just have to provide better options for Black people. I think kind of like the gig is up, and we're starting to recognize that we've been taken advantage of. We deserve more. We are still suffering. And, what is the government going to do about it?
Yeah, speaking of the Tim Ryan, that really, really upset me because they just like they pretended like there's no Black people in Ohio.
Yeah.
Like they just didn't, there was just like nothing.
Right.
Like they didn't even try to pretend to care.
Yeah.
And that was just like, wow, you're not even gonna like patronize us, like like I was just was very eye opening for me when they just said we don't even care to even engage Black folks for this race.
Yeah. And and you mentioning Tim Ryan and also talking about people like not believing in the candidate, like Jesse Vogel's race was part of this last election cycle where Tierra Ross ended up winning the city council seat. And one thing that will, I think, stick with me for the rest of my life was that I had somebody that I know who told me that, and this is a person who votes all the time, and they told me that they didn't vote for either Tierra or Jesse because they weren't sure about either one of them. And I thought that was really like, I got upset at first because I was like, what do you mean you didn't vote?
Right.
But then I had to like reel it in because that goes against my own like personal beliefs around voting. Like I think that I think that people have to give somebody something to vote for, right?
Absolutely.
And so I had to like reel it in and like try to understand why that happened. And I think it is around like this piece around like folks, if Black folks don't believe in a candidate, they will just opt out. And it doesn't always matter like necessarily like how I won't say how high the cost might be because we see Black women turned out and voted for like Kamala Harris, even though some of us may have, maybe been on the fence about that. But when you said that, it made me think about that specific situation. And I want to talk a little bit more about that race because you all, Working Families Party, endorsed Jesse. And I voted for Jesse. And I like Jesse as a candidate. But I think that there's been a lot of just like conversation during that race and after that race. But he nearly won, right?
Yeah,
It was very, very close.
Votes. Yeah.
And so from your perspective, Jesse nearly winning that race in a city that has a establishment Democratic foothold.
Yeah.
What does that say about the political mood here in Columbus.
I think it says that people are eager for change. They want it, and we're very close. I mean, he lost by just over 1,600 votes, which is nothing in the grand scheme. And, he ran a hell of a campaign. And I think it shows that, like, with a well-run campaign, you can come very close and potentially win. I think it just speaks to the eagerness of Columbus for change on city council and probably, beyond council as well.
Yeah.
I'd be interested to know how many people who've moved to the city, like in the last 5 years, voted for Jesse. Because I think that was the thing I said was, like, have enough new people move to Columbus that don't have those strong feelings about the party.
Right.
And I think the answer is, like, yes, we're moving closer to sort of that threshold. But I think when it comes to, like, traditional Democratic voters, I'm interested if you can talk a little bit about their strategy, particularly, like, when it came to engaging the Black community.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't super involved or WFP was not super involved in the strategy. We check in every once in a while. Our relationship with every candidate we endorse is different. Yeah. This year, WFP's main priority was Cleveland. We ran a full slate there. But I think, but I've been keeping up, I've been paying attention to, like, what folks are saying here in Columbus about the strategy. And I think it's no mystery how segregated this city is. And I think it's never a good idea to not include Black voters in your strategy. Like, whether or not you are anticipating that they're going to carry you to victory, you can't ignore Black voters, right? And you shouldn't ignore Black voters,
right?
And I think that is, and I'm sure that they would agree. Whether they did during the campaign or after, but I think moving forward that they know, regardless of if Black voters are going to get you that win. Let's talk to Black people. Let's talk to brown people. Let's talk to all the people that you are trying to represent. I can't speak to exactly what their strategy was, and if it changed or how it changed. But I do know that we've got to talk to Black voters, and make sure that we're not ignoring them.
Yeah.
On the doors, at events, in third spaces, etc.
I mean, I think how I knew, and I reached out after this, how I knew that they weren't talking to Black people is because none of my Black elders called me to ask, who's this Jesse kid? Because normally if there's something new politically happening, I get a couple phone calls like, hey, who is this person? Give me some more information. And they still might not vote for them, but they're at least curious.
Right.
I didn't get a single phone call.
Yeah. And my baby was like, my daughter was like, Mommy, who's Tierra Ross? She was at church this Sunday. Like,
wow.
So she knew, from that piece of engagement. And like, even just me from a personal standpoint, my vote for Jesse wasn't necessarily a vote for Jesse. It was a vote to say, like, I don't like how y'all manipulate the process.
Right.
And I think that someone else has to have a chance. So it wasn't even a vote. It wasn't a vote against Tierra or a vote for Jesse. It was a strategic vote on my part to say, like, something needs to change and y'all need, like, a wake up call. And because I do appreciate what the Working Families Party does. That's to say that, like, I'm an educated, I'm like probably more educated than most around, like, voting. And so, I think it is important not to ignore Black folks. So to not, I don't think that there was really Black radio or any of those pieces. I think that were really important.
Yeah.
And even just the recent interview that Jesse's campaign manager did around, I think she was asked a question about, like, engaging the Black vote and things like that. Nobody should speak for us. We should speak for us. And so, that was sort of a mini rant because that wasn't even a question I had for you. But I felt some kind of way about that.
I figured that one was coming.
And Eden knows that I felt some kind of way about it because I told her personally. But it felt like that was hard. That was one of, I think, my hardest political moments as a voter in Columbus.
I mean, I think there's so many things, but one takeaway from Jesse's race and even the Cleveland races I was involved in is like, we have to build a bench for campaign staff. We have to make sure that people know what they're doing and are able to build strategic field programs that win, are engaging, that are inclusive, and so that one person isn't doing it all. Like, Eden's background is in fundraising, and I don't think she signed up to run an entire campaign. And so I don't want to speak for Eden, but like, I think that, I think a lot of people are doing a whole lot, and we need more hands on deck, more experienced hands that are familiar with what's going on and like are ready to like, stand up and take these jobs and do it well.
Right. And I think they ran a good campaign.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You just can't leave off the Black voters, right? And to me, that just speaks volumes to like, I have these progressive ideals, but at the end of the day, right, like, who's going to be for us? And I think that's my question now at the end of the, like, after this last election, I'm just like, who's going to be for us?
Yeah. It's always like the ... Like, I want to vote for progressive.
Yeah.
But can I trust this person to give them my vote? And like I said, for me, like, I'm thinking about this strategically just because of what I do, how I exist in the world, like what I know about voting. But people are like, listen, I need food, I need shelter, I need like the economy to be okay. Like, who should I vote for?
And so I need people not to lie to me.
And I need people not to lie to me. And so I think sometimes people are really like, I don't know I don't know what to do in this situation. Yeah. And I think that that's sort of like what occurred there. And so that's why I think like, and I think there's also this piece around like, you talked about isolation a little bit. I think it's isolating being a Black progressive voter because Black people are very much married to the Democratic Party. Like, for many of us, our grandparents vote Democrat, our parents vote Democrat, we voted Democrat, establishment, traditional Democrat. And so coming up and saying, think about voting progressive is just going to take, I think, an entire... It's going to take the organizing muscle that I think that y'all are building.
Yeah. And
because even with Mom Donnie, right, in New York, Black people were like, I'm like, I think Black women were the highest voting bloc, his highest voting bloc. Yeah, but initially, right, there was like this reticence.
In the primary, he didn't get a lot of Black support.
Yeah.
But then he did his thing.
Right. He listened. He pivoted.
He did. Yeah.
And that's so important.
Yeah.
He had the team and the wherewithal to make that pivot, which was necessary.
Yeah. Clearly. But I just also like, because Columbus is so segregated, right? Even if you're progressive, you're still white, and most of your friends are white, and the schools you went to are white, and the neighborhoods you go to are white, and your parents' friends are white. Yeah. And in New York, like, it's inescapable basically to be around diversity. I think. And so I just think what we have in the Midwest to offer is just it's just a little different.
Yeah, this requires like more of a nuanced. Like, I think we are having a nuanced conversation, but like we could talk about this for an hour. Because it requires a nuanced conversation and a nuanced strategy. And I think that was what I was most disappointed around. Is what I don't necessarily hear happening. Is like, okay, well, why did Jesse win this particular district that's been gentrified to hell and it's like super segregated now? Like, why did that happen? Talking about those pieces, and I don't feel like that conversation has come up meaningfully enough just yet. And I hope that like going forward, that is a conversation that that happens.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Because there were suggestions made to the campaign about engaging Black people that were just, you know.
Yeah.
We won't.
Yeah, we're not gonna do this.
We're not gonna bet because because Aleena, I don't
It's
want
not
you
your
to feel
fault.
like it's not your fault.
It's not.
But I just think like
know.
when we're talking about progressives and the fact that I deeply want progressives to start like winning, like I don't feel like being here on this platform, I cannot like
for sure.
touch on this.
And I guess it's not even like I'm just trying to find, there's so much to say. I have so many thoughts, but like, cause I guess I'm just trying to place it. But one thing that comes to mind is like the discipline that progressives still need, especially white progressives, is like, I think there's this thing that happens where every so often they think they've escaped or like triumphed or beat racism, you know? And like, no, we have to engage with that struggle. Y'all, we have to engage with that struggle on a consistent basis and like challenge, your ideals and your, and like how you're moving in this world and who you're supporting and why. And then while that is happening, I think we also have to make sure that we're creating a space where Black people feel welcome. And that's part of the goal of WFP too, is like, because there are so many, I think that's the kind of the beauty of a race like Jesse is like, he had Democrats, independents, even Republicans. Like there's so many people that just like wanted to, similar to how the reason behind your vote is like wanted to see something different. And I don't know, that is a big conversation. Like, how do we get more Black people like on the left, like come on over? And I think we're getting closer to finding that answer in really just talking about the material conditions and talking about issues that keep our families afloat and like keeping it simple, like Mom Donnie's whole platform of just, and even some of the platforms in Cleveland, Tan Shah ran for Cleveland City Council Ward 12, won by 9 votes. Wow. It just got certified this week. And, like keeping really simple platforms on like affordable housing, affordable groceries, reliable public transportation, childcare. I think those kind of issues and like staying really vigilant about that will hopefully, bring in more Black, brown, and like poor people into progressive spaces.
Yeah.
It can't continue to just be affluent white people.
And I think you hit on it too. There was a couple of interactions I had online with like people who consider themselves white leftists where they were really nasty to me, like downright racist. This is about class. This is about class. Well, you can't have a conversation about class without having a conversation about race. And you can't like circumvent one to get to the other. And so I think building that muscle and really like engaging with it, right? The discomfort around it is something that like absolutely has to happen. And we ain't doing it. So for the people who are listening, who are white leftists or white progressives, like that is your work to do. And like,
and I just
Godspeed.
I think this is just like Democrats in general, like gotta hop off the high horse. Right. Just because you went to college doesn't mean you necessarily have a better assessment of whatever this candidate. Like, I'm just so tired of hearing people, well, they just don't know. And I'm like, they live this every single day. And like, yes, of course, people could use more information. But like, that's so crazy to say about somebody that they don't know how to have agency over their own life. And I think we just really got to stop saying that.
They don't know what they're going through every day, right? Like, people don't know. We all know how we experience the world every single day. But like Aleena talked about that. It's like making language accessible, making concepts accessible. Like I really actually appreciate the content that you all put out too. Just the national content and even just your state content.
It's
I feel like it's digestible. Right? And I think that's what we're trying to get to is like getting people to understand how this stuff affects their everyday. And unfortunately, like we're there now, right? Because people are feeling how their votes are literally affecting their everyday lives and hurting folks, whether that's job loss, whether that's SNAP the loss of SNAP benefits, whether that's mass deportations. So unfortunately, it is having that, like, I'm touching you right now sort of effect on people. And I think perhaps that might be the catalyst, but I just hate that it had to be that. And I think the opportunity there now is like doing more of what you all are doing. Is like making sure that people can understand. Because it's also like designed to be really hard to
100%.
It's insane.
Like it's way too much.
And I don't even
like, what is a filibuster?
Yeah. And like I'm a teacher.
Yeah.
And I have to try to explain to my kids how to vet a source.
Yeah. What do you teach?
Middle school social studies.
Okay.
So like what websites to trust, what newspapers to trust, because like you used to be able to say, well, the Washington Post is owned by Jeff Bezos. So I read stuff in there sometimes and I'm like, this is crazy.
Right.
It's just like the world of information that we're in. It's just really hard to decipher what's true and what's not. And you know, don't get me started on like the companies that have the money and they're doing all of the bad things. The man, and all of his following us on social media and stealing our information and tailoring everything to us. I just think that in this age of digital, it's become even harder to get the truth to people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, how does that show up for y'all? Like, what is is the resource that you're having to put into like just digital organizing?
Well, I mean, I was just thinking that you just can't replace field organizing.
Right. Yeah.
One-on-one conversations. Like you just can't. There's nothing that does the work better than a one-on-one conversation with someone. Like going to their house, looking at their house, looking at how they come to open the door. If they're like, you know, pushing off kids and animals or whatever, like, you know, just seeing a person in their home and like being able to talk to them about what is affecting them in their day-to-day. Like you know, so many campaigns, in my career have tried to like not spend money on field. And it's like, how are we just field is where the voters are. Seems like we're trying to get to the voter. How can we like not spend money on field? So, I mean, I think there's that is like making sure we continue to prioritize field and talking to voters one-on-one. And I think that's another reason why I appreciate like, you know, us challenging the system is like making these people work. You know, I've heard, you know, over and over that in Columbus, there hasn't been this kind of a competitive race where they're not used to seeing folks on the doors, you know, and so that's really exciting. So engaging with people so they know what's going on and hear it directly from a real person. I think that real human touch always goes further than a digital piece or even a mailer, you know.
Yeah. And speaking of the field piece, I just think there's a misconception that field is strictly transactional during a campaign. But if you hire people, it doesn't have to be.
Yeah.
Right? Like I paid my friends to knock on doors, right? To put money in their pocket.
Yeah.
And because I respect them.
Yeah.
And because I know that they'll do a good job. And so it's like there are people out there that care about democracy and care about their neighborhood who are also really good at talking to people.
Yeah.
Who you can hire to do field. That's just not someone just standing with a clipboard catching people as they get off the bus to sign a petition.
Right. I think the pushback about it being transactional is that work usually starts and stops at the beginning and end of a campaign. So that part is in fact transactional. But we have to, as WFP, as these C3 and C4 orgs, have to make sure that we're doing work to engage voters and non-voters, year round. And that's hard. It is. It takes resources. And some have more than others, but it's important work. If we are actually after what we say we're after, we have to do the work.
Exactly.
Well, and the opposition is very well funded, and they're supporting all of that, and they're supporting it very well. And so it's like, field is super important, and the people who are, funding that work have to understand, like, you're going to have to support people. You're going to have to support year-round organizing.
Yeah, and we're going to have to continue to organize and out-organize our opponents. And Luckily, going back to authentic candidates come from neighborhoods and communities that know and trust them. So when you have a good candidate, them getting volunteers is not hard because they know people. People know them, love them, like them, want them to win. So like the more we have that, the better our chances of winning because we're not like starting from scratch with like some random person who doesn't have any community. So
Yeah.
it's all connected.
Well, along the same veins, what races or issues that are coming up, like let's say 2026, are most important for progressives to pay attention to in Ohio?
I mean, definitely the statewide stuff. We want to, a Democratic governor, senator, secretary of state. Those should be interesting. I know you guys got some state house seats going on, some people playing some musical chairs around here, some good people. But I feel like the state house, the federal races are going to take up a lot of the oxygen next year. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I haven't seen anything else crop up that is looking really interesting or like, honestly. So that might be the wrong answer, but I don't think, it's like Sherrod Brown, Amy Acton, Brian Hambly, and all, who Russo is running against him. And I don't know.
It's been interesting watching the whole Ramaswamy. And it's like Ohio is.
I mean, I predict
place.
Jim Tressel is going to be our next governor. That's my prediction.
Really?
Would you rather have Frank LaRose or whatever the hell his name is? No, I'd rather have Jim Tressel.
No,
I think Jim Tressel cares about people at least. I am so afraid when DeWine leaves office. Do not agree with the man on many, many things, but like he has funded a lot of stuff for families and like victims of crime. And he's not a super right-wing nut job. And I'm just like, whoever we get next, I'm terrified for Ohio.
When I look at him in relation to some of the other right-wing, like super, to me, he still is a Trump loyalist.
Yes.
Just because of the things that I've seen him do.
Absolutely.
He just did something that I can't think about specifically.
This last 2 years.
Sending our National Guard to D.C. when we had nothing to do with that shit.
Yeah.
That's why I got to put him in the bag with
I know,
the right
but
wing.
you know that it's even crazier coming behind him.
Well, there's worse people. That's the problem. It's like
it could always get worse.
Yeah, like he's if you like what I say, he's like Abbott or DeSantis.
Maybe not.
No, but
he's
bad.
Is still bad, right?
He's bad.
He's still bad.
He's
but
bad.
Like,
so Jasmine, I don't know.
Yeah.
Frank LaRose? Are you kidding me?
Right.
Well, he doesn't want people to vote.
Yeah,
like
you know what I'm saying?
He wants to throw ballot boxes in the
back sharecropping on
in Lake Erie.
Right.
He wants to throw all of our ballot boxes in Lake Erie. He doesn't like abortion. He does not fuck with us at all. Does he even like Ohioans?
Right. Yeah.
So no, like I do. Is it because DeWine's like a little old man that I don't feel as angry? I feel angry at him, but when I think about LaRose, I don't know. But I can't rock with you on that one because they both seem.
I think he's traditional right wing. I don't think he's this new brand. Which the new brand scares me.
Yes. I think that's true.
Because, like, I don't think he believes conspiracy theories on 4chan or whatever the heck. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think...
Yes, I think you have a point there. I do think that it is important to... I do think it's important if we're going to, like, move forward. Or what is my boss always say? Be future focused. I think it's important to not lump everybody together.
Amen.
Yeah.
I think that has been a problem.
Definitely.
So I do think that people are on a spectrum.
Yeah.
But when you're the governor, and I think that's how I'm thinking about it. Like you're in this position of power and you're doing things.
Absolutely.
You know what will be interesting? Greg Levy, DSA candidate running for Senate. You know, that'll be interesting to watch.
He's running as a socialist, democratic socialist, right?
I mean, he
Or
has to, or probably as an
PSL?
independent.
Oh,
He's running with DSA and or PSL probably. Yeah, PSL.
Yeah, but he's
but there's
running
no
as
party
an
line.
independent.
Yeah,
Right,
so,
that's right. That's right.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see how that campaign shapes up and how well he does. I mean, a lot of
But
mixed feelings there. But,
is that like what we talked about a little bit earlier? Is the delusional third party? And no shade to Greg, 'cause I haven't met him yet. Greg, if you want to come on, please do.
Yeah, I need to meet Greg. Yeah.
But it's people are going to vote for him, right?
Mm-hmm.
I would think so. And so is it that same like sort of like Green Party stuff where this person gets a small amount of votes and maybe they hurt or they don't, maybe they help or they don't hurt the overall situation, but the risk of it when you look at super close races is something that I'm like,
yeah. Well, in this case, he'll be primaried against Sherrod Brown.
Right.
So that's nearly impossible for him to make it through there. But, I think
that's true.
Yeah, my thing is like, I want to see these people run, but I also want to see them start their campaign 2 years in advance. Yep. I want to see them like show up more prepared and like with an understanding of how freaking hard it is to run for office and how much money it takes. Yep. And like announcing your race just a few months ago for an election that's next year, like we're already behind. So, but I love the ambition, I guess. Yeah. But like, again, working people deserve wins. And is that going to get us a win there? No, I mean, it's a nice thing, but like, is that where we want our organizing efforts to go next year? So it's,
because we can't be playing around.
Exactly.
Next year, we cannot play any games, and that's and I don't want to at all seem like I'm saying that folks are playing games, because I do think there are pieces of like the socialist agenda that I agree with deeply. But like you said, they're out to win, right? And so that is how we need to be thinking about like, what can we do to win? Who can we run to win? Right. Because if we don't, what is already bleak gets worse. I'm already terrified. So the consequences of not winning in the midterms,
are real and pressing.
are very pressing. So good luck to him, and like I said, my chair is always open, because I the thing is, I love to hear about ideas too, right? Like, what is the world that you want to see? What are the ideas that you want to put out there? That's why I have so many organizers on this show, because I want everybody to have a political home, right? And I think that it's important for folks to talk about their platforms and to have a place to talk about them. So like, I would, of course, like open up my seat,
because there's so much good work happening. And I think we just have to come together a little bit more often and be a little bit more strategic about supporting other people's lanes, staying in our own lanes, and like trying to get clear about where we're going, and divvying up the work and trying to, and also bringing people along, as I spoke on earlier. It's just like, we've got to build the bench, both for candidates and for staff, so we can be a little bit more prepared when seats are opening, and we need staff to actually get these candidates to victory and stuff. So yeah.
So I have one more. Like, do you want to ask a question? I'm like,
no, I've been asking, commenting. I'm good.
I can't help it, because I'm just always.
It's your
I'm
show.
always in here by myself, so I'm just like excited.
I talk all day,
to have you
every single day.
Well, I had just like more of a policy question. As people are listening to this show, like, what policy changes do you think would most immediately improve the lives of working families in Ohio? And if you want to drill down, you can drill down into Columbus, but just like in this state.
Yeah. I'll drill down to Columbus. As I'm sure you've heard, there is like whispers of some, reform happening for creating real districts, which I think would go a long way for Columbus City Council. So right now, you all have this like pseudo ward system where you have to collect signatures, and and this is for all the folks that don't know, but like a candidate has to collect signatures for the ward they're seeking to represent. But when it's time for voters to show up in the primary and the general, it's a citywide election, so that gets very expensive. So kudos to Jesse for raising $600,000, but that is not sustainable. We cannot spend $600,000 every time we want to get someone on city council. So a real ward system would go so far for Cleveland, for Cincinnati, who's also at large. And I think that's kind of a path towards governing power, which I think will lead to the policy wins that we deserve. But yeah, we have to. I feel like that will be a good place to put our energy in when we have there's no off years in Ohio. There's no, but when we have maybe a slower time or there's less candidates that we're excited about, it's like organizing for things that can really make this work a little bit more sustainable.
Right.
Yep. Yeah. Just a little history on the ballot initiative thing.
Yeah.
So there was actually a progressive ballot initiative put forth 2016.
Yeah.
And the establishment Democrats got wind of this. And so they put something that sounded and looked very similar on the ballot right next to it, and then put it on all the Democratic sample ballots, which we know is king.
Right.
And so there was an actual real ward system that was on the ballot. And so there's an appetite in Columbus for that. People thought that they were voting for a ward system.
Right.
They just sort of got hoodwinked. And so I think if we came around, if you come around back again, I think that would be a really successful campaign in Columbus.
You think it gets passed without it being a ballot measure? You think current council, anyone on council, who do you think would champion something like that?
Nick Bankston. Sorry, Nick, I don't mean to put you out there like that, but I think
if you
Nick. wanted any chance of getting that through, I think I would start there.
Well, and if people on councils say that, I think I saw Shannon write something after Tierra's win that I thought was a very nice statement, just about the race. But people can, write whatever they want to, and I actually do like Shannon. But what I would like to see happen is people not be in opposition to it.
Yep.
And not do what Jasmine just said.
Right.
Like let the chips fall where they may.
Yeah.
And that's what I've always been asking for, right? With the sample ballot, with what we're talking about here. Like let the people decide. Let the chips fall where they may, and don't mess with the process. And so the best thing I think council could do is just do that, right? Like don't put millions of dollars into defeating
don't put our money. Don't put taxpayer dollars.
Don't put taxpayer dollars towards defeating something that you have now seen. Because now you have the proof that there is an appetite, and there's this big conversation around a new system that actually allows for the person who lives in your neighborhood to represent you, right? Who understands the issues that you're facing. And so that's my answer to that question is don't put barriers in place. Right? Just let things happen as they should. Let the people decide. And I will say that is the best thing that I think came out of Jesse's race is that I think that there was and I want to also give credit to the people who paved the way, right? Jasmine is one of those people. Aaron is one of those people. Morgan Harper is one of those people who paved the way for this conversation to be happening. And I just hope that folks listen. Right. Because it can't be ignored. It was just too close. So 100%. So I guess my last question for you is, what is giving you hope right now?
What is giving me hope? Let's see. It is December. I'm trying to
The
place
end of the
myself
year.
in the world right now. Like, where am I?
Christmas lights and Christmas decorations?
No, I mean,
No?
yeah, we love
Is
a
that just me?
Christmas. You know, I am really excited about the work that WFP did this past year. We endorsed 10 candidates, 6 won. We got 1 mayor.
Yeah.
We got Shanice Turner Sloss in Dayton, a lovely Black woman who's so powerful and just so amazing. Talk about authentic. Love her.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so I'm excited to like challenge myself to like build the party of my dreams and like build it to scale that's actually going to show up for like working people and also the candidates, because what I hear so often in this position is like, okay, yeah, I got this job, I'm in office, but this is really hard, I'm fighting for my life, I need support. So whether that's like support from the institutions that got them there or like peers on their bodies, on their whatever seats they represent. I'm just trying to like harness that energy and just kind of keep going. As we said, this is long and like a long and hard journey, but races like Jesse's, the wins throughout the state, like it was like people are eager, and it'd be a shame to like set it all down and walk away.
Right.
Yeah, there's a groundswell.
Mm-hmm.
So we could take advantage.
I have a question.
Of that.
How do you like see the ancestors in your work? Because I think, especially for Black folks, when we vote or when we organize, it's not about us.
Yeah.
It's about our past and our future.
Yeah. Good question. It's funny, earlier, like as we were starting this conversation, I'm like, I had a feeling this was going to feel like therapy. And it kind of is, because I think we're all bringing so much into this conversation, and so like varied past and whys and stuff. And I want to be honest, I actually was just telling a friend this recently, like I want to tap more into like my ancestral power, or like just that communication. But what I do think shows up the most for me is like my deep desire to make politics a home for everyone. And, I've felt like through my isolation, I have felt that as a Black person, as a woman, as a queer person, like felt isolated by my Black peers who have the establishment job, who climb the ladder. And maybe in some parts because of the politics that I chose to endorse and support, which may have been called radical at certain points, but also because I am a emotional person that leads with my heart and believes that there's no way that you can convince a person to do something without getting to know them or building some trust or like being a real human being. And I think that like when there's moments that I'm like kind of down or like questioning why I'm doing this, I'll never forget this one day I was canvassing. It was cold, it was wet, it was raining. I think this was for Bernie back in the day. And me and my friends like stopped into this bar after canvassing. And the bartender this was like a hole in the wall bar in Cleveland. And she was like, "You look tired. What you been doing?" And I was just like, "I was canvassing for Bernie." But she had no idea what I was talking about. And I was just like telling her, and she was like, "Wow, people have talked about this, but I've never understood it until like, thanks for talking to me about it. And the way you said it just made so much sense." And like, and there's been so many moments like that just kind of keep me grounded. Like, okay, I'm here for a reason. And I think some like going back to that like educational background or something, maybe that's the part that's flowing through me. It's just like this desire to be human and real and not let intellectualism like drive this whole thing and make it accessible. Yeah. Long answer, but
well, you mentioned your the legacy of teachers in your family. And honestly, just like the legacy of Black women is an organizing legacy.
Yeah.
And storytelling.
Right.
And,
Yeah.
And this stuff is so inherent to us. Like
it's so inherent. It's like
not,
that.
And I think that's what I love when you see that click in someone, or just like when I get to remind someone of that, like, this is your life. Like, you know this stuff. I may have said 5 words, or they may have said 5 words that you don't know, but you don't need to know them. You are living this, like, you know exactly what all of this means, you know? So, like, I think that needs, and maybe that's how, you know, not to get into a whole nother conversation, but that's how we bring in more Black people in politics, is like having, like, maybe there's some conversation where we talk about that, or I don't know, but yeah. So
there's something that needs to happen, because like you said, like, the respectability politics piece is what keeps so many of us out of this work, even though we know what we're talking about. Maybe people don't have degrees, or they don't have the pedigree, or whatever, or they don't look the part. They don't look the part, whatever. But that doesn't preclude somebody from being able to be effective, especially when they're representing their people.
100%.
Right, you represent your people, like the people that you understand and know best, and the that's the ancestral piece, right? Is that we've done this work for generations, whether that's organizing in the church, organizing our families, surviving.
Right.
Yeah,
no big deal.
Yeah, and I mean, there's so many Black women right now who are saying, like, and maybe this is an outsized like choir, but who are saying, like, I'm resting right now, right? I'm not.
I'm what right now?
I'm resting right now.
Yeah.
I'm not engaging because I did what I was supposed to do in 2024. I personally never felt that way, but I understand why people feel that way.
Yeah.
But what my point is that when we do get up,
we
do decide to get up, right? You know what I mean? Things are moving right now, right? Like with those of us who have said, you know, I'm gonna stay. I'm gonna make the decision to stay in it. But when our sisters are like, all right, it's time for me to. Yeah.
And I
the
think
things that will happen.
Landscape. We're assessing the landscape.
Yeah.
Right. I don't.
And we deserve to rest.
Yeah. Like, I've not left. I'm now pivoting to my 30-year plan instead of like, oh my gosh, they just shot somebody. Let's go organize. Right.
Yeah.
And so just, you know, move. I think people are at different places in their like organizing journey, and I'm in my like long-term, how am I going to make this money so I can fund the things that I believe in?
Well, and you have to be able to stay alive to even engage in this at all. Because you can be walking around and be like this shit is no joke. Like, even just what I do on this show is no joke. The way that people, the emails I get, the comments, the messages, the some of the things that I have to absorb.
Yeah.
And I'm preaching to the choir because y'all all know this, but like, that's why I'm talking to y'all about it. Like, people don't, I think, fully understand, like, once you put yourself out there and you get involved in this, it's tough. So folks deserve to rest. So the other ancestral piece is just like trying to rest because they didn't necessarily always have the opportunity to. So I hope you get some rest.
Thank you.
Because
likewise,
y'all have done some great things in 2025, and we'll continue to do them. And I'm excited to
keep watching.
I'm excited to see your name in a history book.
Wow,
organizing the state. I mean, I'm serious. I'm not trying to be funny. Like, this is not.
Yeah, we're the
business
people.
as usual. This is a whole. This is going. All of this is going to be somewhere.
Right. Because there's an opportunity, and it's crazy how we got to this opportunity. But I think there's absolutely an opportunity to engage people across the political spectrum, and I'm including Republicans in that conversation. Like, people are not okay with what's happening in the world, and that is one thing that is encouraging to me. Is I think everybody is sick of the shit. Everybody, and so I think there's an opportunity to talk to some folks that we normally wouldn't include on our walk lists.
And then that goes back to the education too. It's like, okay, we have to talk to those people about their theory of change. They might understand that they don't like the why, but we need to be on the same page about our theory of change, because then you just get more racist leftists who think you can bypass important things like Black people.
Yeah,
that was no tie into it. I'm just saying in general.
Yeah. No, I understand.
I mean, or white leftists who don't want to talk to their rural white MAGA cousins. It's like, you want me to talk to them?
Right.
Like, that's your cousin.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's difficult, right? Because those
Mm-hmm.
conversations can be hard, they can be violent, but like, you are that link.
Right.
You already have that familial link. So we're going to have to like roll up our sleeves. Everybody has to roll up their sleeves, and everybody has to be willing to be in discomfort.
Right. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But Aleena, thank you.
Yeah, thank you
for this conversation.
Wonderful.
I'm glad that it felt therapeutic.
Yeah.
I feel the same way.
Shout out to you. I'll be praying for you.
Thank you. Accepting prayers always.
Facts. We will be doing that for sure.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you so much.
Thank you all. Oh my God. This has been recorded. I told you, I'm emotional, y'all.
I make everybody cry up here.
No. Oh my God, really?
I know.
Well, okay, I guess I'm glad it's not just me.
Well, you provide an extremely comfortable place for people.
Yeah, and I think it's just when you see good people and doing good work, I think we just have to really prioritize lifting them up, because it is hard out here.
Mm-hmm.
There are not a lot of good people doing good work. Yeah. I mean, okay. I don't know if I should say that, but you know what I mean? It is
at the height, at the people who have the power and the influence right now are not that they're doing everything bad.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds so basic to say, but it's a lot of turning a blind eye.
Yeah, and that's another reason why to expand the progressive, the Black people in progressive spaces, because it's there are actually amazing people doing work, but they just aren't visible or to us or have the platform that they need. Mm-hmm. But
and just to lift in, you are doing of all the Black people that have political jobs in the country, this is one of the most important, right? Mm-hmm. And you have that job, and that is amazing. And we gotta. I don't take it lightly. That's why I'm crying. Our people, we gotta tell our people that they're doing good work. You're doing great work. I
appreciate that. Yeah.
Yeah. The wait is difficult, and the timing is difficult.
Yep. It's almost it's it never ends. As you're saying, the correspondence you get post shows and stuff, it's people are never happy. You never do enough, but. And that, going back to we were talking about the jobs impact, taking the job to live. But I think it's also, and this might come from a place of privilege, sound like it's privilege, but and not to be too woo woo, but I do think that there is value in finding your why and your purpose and being in that. Because I think when you are aligned with your purpose, you will be okay. And into whatever it takes to get out of that scarcity mindset. Because it's we're never going to get anywhere if we're always scared about a job. And maybe that's why we need to strengthen community, so we can take risks professionally. There's a lot of things that go into that. But
and these jobs don't fire us anyway.
Exactly. So. They can't wait to fire you.
And it was strategic how they fired all these Black women.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.